Dynamite, not enough. Rampage, not enough. Elevation, not enough. Dark, not enough. How many AEW shows do you need? Well, according to Maria Kanellis, 4 shows isn't enough. You need one more, and that one more show should be an all-women's wrestling show. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Wrestling, and I think Maria Kanellis is maybe proving here that her character in WWE, where she played this like dumb, ditzy backstage interviewer, maybe that wasn't playing a character. Maybe that is Maria Kanellis, because she's proven time and time again that she is clueless when it comes to wrestling, and her opinion on the latest new show that AEW needs, I think, just goes to further prove she does not have a clue what she's talking about. She should probably stick to her OnlyFans account, because I think taking off clothes suits her, but when she starts to think using her brain to try and come up with wrestling ideas, it doesn't really work. So she spoke about how AEW could do an all-women's show and the depth that the roster has. I mean, what depth? The roster sucks. The roster absolutely sucks. But this is what Maria Kanellis had to say on the whole possibility of AEW doing an all-women's show, and she also called Tony Khan a genius. Now, I can think of a lot of words to call Tony Khan. A genius certainly is not one of them. He is not a genius. He will never be a genius. I don't think he has the capacity to ever be a genius. And I tell you who is not a genius, Maria Kanellis. But this is what she had to say on the whole AEW all-women's show situation. Quote, "Is there a possibility because of the amount of talent they have in AEW to do an all-women's show? Of course. They are more than capable of doing so. I also think you have to look at it from the perspective of bandwidth. How much can you put out there right now on the AEW side when you're trying to take care of all of AEW's brands plus Ring of Honor? A smart person isn't necessarily going to add more things unless they already know what every company and brand situation is going to be a month or 6 months from now. I know we don't like to look at things from a business perspective as wrestling fans, but there is that side. Is that the best use of time right now? Or now that we're getting several women's matches on pay-per-view that are highly rated, is it better to build that until you get to a place where you know what your profit is going to be? Question mark. It was building the women's division and the notoriety of all the women in the division, from Jade Cargill to Britt Baker. Even Britt Baker on the indies had this level, but not to the stardom of the Young Bucks. Not many have accomplished that on the indies anyway. You're building these new talents, and that's what any company wants to do. They want to have homegrown talent that they have built to stars, as well as stars that come from other places, just like territories in a much bigger scale. Maybe you have to look at it and say that was building. For 3 years, they built homegrown stars while bringing in other talent, and now they are to a place where everybody, as a fan, can go, I see it now, I get it. It's like a puzzle was revealed. Maybe Tony Khan is more of a genius in that sense, and his patience of building it. End of quote. What the hell is she talking about? Tony Khan being a genius? Tony Khan building stuff? Tony Khan doesn't give a shit about women's wrestling. I think it's funny that they continuously criticise WWE, and they make out that AEW is the place for women to go. Do they not watch WWE? I mean, the women on WWE get just about as much airtime as they do on AEW. Women on WWE regularly main event Raw and SmackDown. Women on AEW literally beat up men at every opportunity they get. The women get pushed to the moon on WWE. On AEW, you'll watch several shows and you'll be lucky if the women even get one segment. So I just don't get this. It's blatant lies that AEW is like the saviour of women's wrestling, that AEW is the place that gives women opportunity. How can honestly anyone say that? You can criticise the WWE for a lot of things. They do a lot of things bad, and I'm not saying that giving women time's good, because I don't like women's wrestling, but how can you honestly say that like WWE holds women back, or that WWE isn't a good place to go if you're a woman in wrestling. It's the best place to go, hands down. Oh, at least over AEW. I mean, WWE's women's division is way better than AEW. WWE women's division is like way more highly thought of than AEW. It has more stars. It's in a much better position. In terms of like showtime, it gets a lot more. Everything about the WWE women's division is just simply better than the AEW women's division. Honestly, man, the women's division sucks. Anytime it gets one or two segments, it's one or two segments too many on AEW. So the fact that she wants to have a full show dedicated to this women's, a whole women's show, that is mind-boggling. I cannot believe that Maria thinks that's a good idea. And yeah, like I said, maybe she is an idiot. And if you weren't, if you weren't certain, if you needed to confirm that she is clueless, yeah, she called Tony Khan a genius. I mean, what kind of joke is that? I mean, this must just be pure, nothing more than Maria kissing Tony Khan's ass. I mean, that's all that this is. Seriously, man. Genius? I don't think so. The guy's a fucking idiot. Anyway, that's it. AEW Women's Division, do you want to see it? I mean, I don't think anybody wants to see this. Hopefully we don't get it. It's the last thing I want. And yeah, hopefully we never get to see this monstrosity in wrestling. It's bad enough like watching these women's matches on like Rampage or something like that. The last thing we need is a full show dedicated to all these horrible women in AEW. I mean, you look at the entire roster. I mean, how many of them would you keep in WWE? Maybe like 2 or 3. The whole thing fucking sucks. But yeah, guys, let me know your thoughts down below. Catch you in the next one. And of course, until then, Maria, you are an idiot. Peace.